Colors, brightness, contrast. I have two sliders, one for the brightness and one for the contrast. This reset button initializes the dialog from the beginning without having to cancel and call the dialog again. I can either drag the sliders or set numerical values. I cannot specify on which channel to act, so this tool is just for a general tonal adjustment. Now I drag the brightness to the left. The left point on the histogram remains, but the right point shifts to the left. The more I drag the slider to the left, the more the histogram shrinks to the left. Doing this, the highlights go down. Now the opposite, brightness to the right. The right point in the histogram remains, the left point shifts to the right. Now the shadows get brighter. I reset the dialog and let us see what the contrast slider does. The more I reduce the contrast, the more the histogram shrinks from both sides. This way I am pushing down both shadows and highlights. If instead I increase contrast, the more I increase the contrast, the more the histogram spreads out of both sides. This way I am possibly losing information on both sides, on shadows and or on highlights through clipping. Why these gaps in the histogram? Because it is inevitable that this way some values between 0 and 255 will lose their data. Now let us see what is happening in the image window. Dragging brightness to the left, the image gets darker and I am losing highlights. Dragging the brightness to the right, the image gets lighter and I am losing shadows. Dragging the contrast to the left, the image gets more flat and I am losing both shadows and highlights. Dragging the contrast to the right, the image gets more strong, more harsh, let's say, but there is a significant sacrifice. Intermediate information, as I can see in the histogram, is lost. My image gets poorer in tones, something that is generally considered to be a technical defect. This is a typical landscape photography, let us say, quite rich in tones and color, and with a full-blown histogram right here. There is data for all values. The histogram starts close to the 0 point. The curve follows a certain line and ends close to the 255 point. If I push the contrast too much, I am destroying the tonal wealth of the image. So, to sum up with the brightness and contrast tool, it seems to be a first approach to affect the tonality of an image. The next tool, the levels tool, goes a step further, and this is the reason why this dialog offers this button right here. With this button, I can immediately transfer the adjustments I have possibly made right to the levels dialog.